Okay, everyone, welcome to another awesome interview with someone who's actually kind of like a hero to me. I have for you Kassandra, and I was just going to say yoga with Kassandra, but Kassandra, I guess that's not actually your name, is it? Your name is Kassandra Reinhardt. I call you Yoga with Kassandra. That is the name of her YouTube channel, which is a really wonderful channel that I've recommended many times. So you may have heard of it. You may already be a subscriber to it. I should back up. I'm Dr. Bree, founder of Fusion Fitness. And today we're going to be talking with Kassandra about Yin Yoga for women's health and hormones. And so let me just really briefly introduce Kassandra. She is an Ottawa, Canada-based yoga instructor on a mission to help others feel great with yoga. And I can so get behind that. I love that. And she's been teaching yoga since 2008. And then I'm not really sure the timeline on this, Kassandra. Maybe you can fill us in, but I know that she started a YouTube channel. It grew really, really rapidly. Now she has over 220,000 subscribers, bringing Yin Yoga to the masses. She also has an online Yin Yoga training program, which I went through, and I loved it. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And also a book. So Kassandra, what got you into Yin and just yoga in general, I guess?
Yeah, so I started practicing, like you mentioned, around 2008. It's been a little over 10 years now. And I was originally just starting yoga classes very casually. I was a dancer and I still dance today. So yoga was just something I thought I could do to become more flexible and become a little bit stronger. So it really wasn't going to be, I didn't think it would, end up being something that I love so much and kind of devoted my whole life to. And it took a while for that passion to really grow on me. I know for a lot of people, they have the experience of getting on the yoga mat, trying yoga for the first time and falling in love with it right away. It definitely wasn't that kind of story for me. It was a very slow progression of trying different styles, doing just little drop-in classes. I started maybe, going to yoga maybe once a month and twice a month and 3 or 4 times a month and weekly. And until I found a teacher I really resonated with and a style I really resonated with, that's kind of what clicked for me. And when that did click, that's how I kind of ended up drifting a little bit away from the world of dance because I was really injured and I just needed something else at that point in my life. And I found yoga and I got really into it. And I had started off mainly as Hatha yoga, vinyasa yoga, forest yoga as well, because that's what my teacher, who I love, Louise Cameron, was teaching. And I wish I could remember exactly the first Yin yoga class I took. I don't remember exactly the first one, but I know that I didn't really know what Yin yoga was. And I know that when I first started doing Yin yoga, again, it wasn't a love at first sight for me. And I think that's important to mention because for a lot of people, they'll try Yin yoga especially, and they will not like it at all the first couple of times. And it really did it took me a while before Yin yoga really started to grow on me, just because, Yin yoga, if you're not familiar with it, it's a very passive style of yoga where we hold these passive poses for an extended period of time. So, 2.5 minutes all the way to 10 minutes sometimes. So you are really faced with yourself and it can be very uncomfortable, not necessarily physically, but uncomfortable mentally. It's kind of like an active meditation. So that was very challenging for me. I'm always someone who lives in her head and I'm very fast-paced and productive, which is really great, but slowing down was a challenge for me. So it took a while for Yin to grow on me, but then I kind of started to love it and see the benefits of it. And I noticed just how much flexibility I was gaining from it. At that point, I had been doing vinyasa yoga for maybe a year or two, and I had seen some improvements in my flexibility, but nothing compared to how much flexibility I gained from Yin yoga. And that really kind of hooked me in. So 2008, started practicing, and about 5 or 6 years later, I got certified. I think 2012 or 2013, I did my first yoga teacher training and started teaching right away and started my YouTube channel pretty soon after that. And now here I am. Yeah, I think April 2014, I started my YouTube channel. So this April will be the 5-year mark. So it's been like slow and steady, but I'm really happy with where I am now. So it's very exciting.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And it's funny, I'm really glad that you brought up how yin yoga may be, or really yoga in general, may be hard for some people at first to kind of, they might not like it at first. It might be, like you said, kind of confronting, or they might think, this is boring. What's this doing for me? And it's not to say that everyone has to love yoga, but I do have to say that I just really encourage anyone still watching right now to give it a chance if you aren't so sure, if you're kind of like, because actually just 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, I actually got a comment from one of my FemFusion Fitness viewers who wrote in, and she said, don't take this the wrong way, but, and then ... And you're like, oh no, I know what's coming. Something's coming that's not so good. But she goes, I really liked your old stuff. I miss your old style of workouts and like your fitness videos and stuff like that. And she says, I know you're taking things in a new direction, but I miss that stuff. And I don't really, implying that she doesn't really like the new stuff, which is more focused on yoga and Foga, which is fitness yoga, and also a little bit more on yin yoga. And I just, I honor that, absolutely. But I think that she might be one of those people that you're mentioning that maybe needs to see, I mean, how do you approach that with somebody who's like, not so sure? Are you someone who would say, give it multiple tries? Or do you think that it truly just isn't for everyone? Or what's your take on that?
I mean, the thing with yoga is that it's really hard to say either I like yoga or I don't like yoga, because especially now, like in 2019, there are dozens of different kinds of yoga styles. So it's like, what have you tried and what haven't you tried? Saying that you went to a restorative yoga class, you walked out and you didn't like it, doesn't necessarily mean that you don't like yoga. It just maybe means that you don't like restorative yoga. Maybe try power yoga, Iyengar, Hatha, Vinyasa, Yin yoga, Kundalini, Hatha. Like there's an endless amount of different kinds of yoga that you could try. So it's really hard to make those blanket statements because you want to get like the full range of it, So I would say to try one or two styles that are more yang in nature, so more dynamic, more focused around strength or cardiovascular energy, that have a little bit more like muscular engagement and that kind of thing. So that would be like your power, your vinyasa, your hatha, your ashtanga. And then maybe try something that's a little bit more yin-like in nature. And yin can be yin yoga, but it can also be like a gentle hatha yoga. It can be restorative yoga. It might be yoga nidra. It might be meditation. So there are like these different realms, and then there are all the styles which kind of interweave between those. So the first thing is try different styles to see which one you resonate with. And then once you find a style, the thing is there are like millions of teachers now. And even though we might all have like a similar sort of training, we're all going to be teaching things differently. So I would say experiment with different teachers. So even though once I found a teacher that I really loved, I did stick with her. And even now, like I study extensively with Sienna Sherman, who I consider now to be like my primary teacher. But that doesn't mean I only take her classes, and even back then I don't only take one person's class, because I really find that that's when my practice and my own teachings kind of become stagnant. You will really see a lot of progression, and you'll get a better idea of what, this whole system is about when you try different approaches and different perspectives. That's one of the best ways, especially if you feel like you've hit a plateau and you feel like you're stuck. You need to shake up your routine, and that doesn't necessarily mean go try a bunch of different things. It usually for me means try a different teacher. They're going to give you a different message, and especially if you are a teacher and you feel like your own offerings are getting a little bit stale, it's probably time to mix up who you're consuming information from and go to a different medium or go to a different teacher just to refresh it. And when it comes to these people, who are giving comments, like obviously being on YouTube, I get hundreds of comments every day from people, some very positive, some very negative, and many who fall right in the middle of those. And it was hard at first, but the thing is whenever you get feedback, you need to kind of, it's like if you're going to accept the positive feedback, then you need to be able to accept the negative feedback. And I'm more coming from a place where I don't accept any of it. Like my self-worth and my value comes from within. So someone telling me that I'm amazing, my classes have changed their lives, like I try not to let that pump up my ego so much, because if I let the criticism, the positive criticism of someone affect me, that means that if someone tells me that I'm the worst teacher in the world, I should be, on YouTube, I'm irresponsible, whatever, all these things that I've been told before, that means that I would also have to accept that. So it's like, I choose to, just accept with a grain of salt, whatever positive or negative comments are thrown at me, and use it as a reflection for me to say, was that true? What do I believe about myself? Like, what is my sense of self-worth? So these viewers, telling you, oh, I miss your old stuff. Well, yeah, maybe they just miss your old stuff. It doesn't necessarily need to be like a direct reflection of you and your offerings. Like, you get to make that decision of what that's going to mean for you in the long run. And I realize I've been talking for a long time now. So
no, this was awesome. I feel like I just got a counseling session a bit, because it actually it kind of hurt. I have to say, it kind of stung. But in a way, it was a mirror. It was a reflection, and I have changed. And that really goes into my next question. And also, just to backpack on what you just said, my own journey with yoga, which I've been practicing since I was 16 and I'm now 38. So it's been a long time, but I also experimented and started with just like hatha, like DVDs in my parents' living room. And then I went to more of an athletic, aggressive style. I was a runner at the time. And so I did a lot of hot yoga, a lot of vinyasa, ashtanga, all of that. And then over time, I went to Yin. It's like Yin, which could be looked as an easier style, is actually what I've progressed to over time. But I do, yeah, my channel is actually a reflection of what is working for me in my life right now. And the reason my life is incorporating more yin is because I personally have some hormone challenges that I'm dealing with. And I'm going through what appears to be a very early start to perimenopause. And I've done some testing with my doc. I've talked about it on my channel before, so I won't get into it, but a lot of hormone imbalances. And a lot of it is aggravated by stress. And so that's one reason I really focused on listening to my body and sometimes slowing down rather than speeding up, which is how I used to deal with stress. Was, oh my gosh, I'm stressed out, I need to go for a run, I need to whatever. But now actually slowing down has helped so much. So that's really what the next question I have for you, Kassandra, is how can yin yoga help with women's health and hormone issues?
I mean, you kind of touched on it. So I've always been really hesitant on my channel to offer yoga classes that seem to speak to curing certain things, and other teachers will choose to do that, and that's fine. But I don't want to give people the impression that, do these 3 poses every day and you're going to cure your hormonal imbalance, or you're going to, I don't know, like cure your hypothyroidism or whatever. And the truth is like yoga supports us in any kind of hormonal imbalances when it allows us to reduce the stress levels in our body. So one of the biggest things that can throw your endocrine system out of whack, and that can really have a negative impact on your hormonal health overall, is the amount of stress that you're experiencing in your body. So rather than focusing specifically on specific yoga poses or specific styles of yoga, it's really about taking a holistic view and starting to implement certain forms of movement or certain practices in your life that help you reduce your stress level overall. And so once you go above and beyond that, like for me, that's yin yoga. One of the ways that I de-stress the best in, my life and have for the past 10 years is by practicing yin yoga, because it's a passive form of yoga. So we're holding poses for a long time. The poses are very low to the ground. So we're not really standing up. We're not engaging our muscles. There are like 3 principles of yoga. We're holding the pose, we're finding our edge, and we're resolving to be still. So once you find a shape that works for your body and you let yourself be fully still and you let gravity do most of the work for you, so you're not fidgeting, you're not contracting, you're not pushing, you're really just surrendering and learning to relax. This is how we can learn to soothe ourselves and to reduce the levels of stress that we have overall. So if you're dedicating yourself to hopefully what is a weekly yin yoga practice, maybe even a few times a week of doing yin yoga, overall, you should be able to reduce your stress levels. Now, that being said, you can do yin yoga every single day of your life, But if you're practicing yin yoga and you're unable to quiet down your mind, and you're still letting these storylines go, and you're still keeping your heart rate up and still, pumping that cortisol in your veins and still stressed out, all the yoga in the world isn't going to help with that, So the practice of yin yoga is really about getting ourselves in a position where we can get like our mind and body flowing into that one peaceful state. So I find for me personally, if I'm able to relax my body, it's then a lot easier to relax my mind. So then I become less stressed overall. But for other people, the way that they're going to de-stress is by taking a long walk. For some people, maybe they do find lower levels of stress in other more dynamic forms. For me, I just found that it didn't work because it just elevated my heart rate and it overstimulated me. So there's this notion I find that we have in the West where it's like we need to like go boxing or do something that's like really vigorous and really like drains us of our energy. We'll go and do like a crazy intense workout, and because we're so exhausted at the end, we think we feel better, and we think that's the solution to de-stressing overall. And while that might be correct for some people, what we need to mostly consider is finding balance between yin and yang. Yeah. So if you're already spending most of your day being very stressed mentally, to then stress your body physically through these vigorous workouts might not be the best solution for you. That's yang added on top of yang. And the only relief you're getting is the relief from the exhaustion. But instead, can you, if you are stressed out and very yang and very active mentally throughout the day, then maybe something that's more yin in nature is what you're going to need to be able to like soothe the parasympathetic nervous system and to get more of those like feel-good inducing hormones in your body and to actually de-stress and support your hormonal health overall. So it's really not like a one recipe or one size fits all or one size fits all approach for everyone, because we all have different styles and different lifestyles. So again, it's like for the people who sit for 8 to 10 hours a day because they have a very mundane job, if you're not stimulated enough throughout the day, if you're already going through the day in a very yin-like way, then maybe for you, you do need something that's a little bit more higher energy, like vinyasa or power or going for a run or going boxing, because you need to counteract all the yinness of your day, all the dullness and the mundane. So it's just about evaluating, what do I have too much of in my life, and what would be the greatest thing for me to counteract that and to find balance in that so that I am supporting my hormonal system overall. So that's why I'm always like a little bit cautious, of like prescribing things to people, just because, I don't know, we all have different lives and we all have different needs. So it's really about empowering people to take charge of their own health and to look at, what do I do during the day? What's missing from my day? And how can I kind of infuse that either in the morning before I go to work, or in the evening and afternoons, or even at lunchtime when I have some time, So hopefully that makes sense.
Oh, that was beautifully said. I love that. I'm all about the concept of balance. I'm super into Ayurveda, and that's all about balance as well. So that was beautiful. And I just want to touch on one more hormone related thing before I have another question for you about your yoga teacher training. But one more hormone related concept is weight. I think that a lot of people might think, oh my gosh, if I do yin yoga, which is not exactly a super active, super dynamic class that's going to get my heart rate up and make me sweat, am I going to gain a whole bunch of weight? And I wanted to just throw in my thoughts on that and then get your thoughts as well. So my thoughts, I often have told people that I consider deep breathing and relaxation in some cases, which for me, I find yin, even though it is very great for flexibility and a deep stretch. I mean, it's not restorative yoga. It's different than that. It's a very good stretch, but it is relaxing. And I am personally able to surrender into the poses, and it's very relaxing. So for me, I consider yin yoga and deep breathing to be two like weight management activities, even weight loss activities. If I'm starting to get really stressed, I'll notice that my body feels more bloated and puffy, and I'll just feel like I'm retaining weight in my thighs and my butt. And it's just like, that's where I carry it. When I'm stressed, like I really feel that. And so for me, my answer is that while I don't think you could do, yin yoga maybe 100% of the time, it's, good to get out there and go walk in and do your workout, whatever your workouts are as well. But I consider yin yoga to be a balancing program for people who do have excess cortisol in their system and excess stress hormones. I think yin yoga is wonderful and may actually be a weight management tool. What do you think about that? Am I on the right track when I tell people that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there's definitely such a thing as working out too much. And anyone who's ever been kind of caught in that loop of like wanting to lose weight, so you're exercising like for a long time, every single day, either you reach a plateau very quickly, or you find that you're just not really getting the results that you thought you should be getting, because it's like calories in, calories out. Like, why am I not losing the weight that I should be losing? But there definitely is such a thing as working out too much. You can overload and overstress your system. And it kind of goes into this like fight or flight mode where it's trying to like hold on, to every nutrient that it can. And it just can't really process all of this exercise basically that you're doing. So again, if you're overstressed and overloading your system, you won't be able to really like get the results that you're looking for. So these like slower practices can absolutely be a great way to complement your weight loss. And I know that for sure. Like I've never been like trying to lose weight. Like I don't want to, make it seem like I'm someone who tries to lose weight. Like I'm very happy with my weight. But I did notice that when I started to do yin yoga on a more regular basis, I did lose a couple pounds. And again, it's not because I was trying to, but it's just because I was super active, like as a dancer and then walking every day. And then on top of doing my vinyasa yoga classes, I was overstressing and overloading my system. And I wasn't doing all of those things because I was trying to lose weight. It's just that's the lifestyle I was leading at the time. And once I dropped a little bit of that and incorporated yin yoga, I did actually end up losing a couple pounds, and it does have to do with the fact that you are lowering your stress levels and you're able to process things. But I think the other key part that yoga in general, like not necessarily just yin, but all yoga, the way that it can facilitate weight loss is just that yoga helps you cultivate mindfulness. Yoga is the practice of mindfulness, so it will make you think a little bit more about the way that you treat your body, the foods that you give yourself to nourish your body, the water intake that you have, the amount of sleep that you take. For me, yoga as a lifestyle in general and as a practice in general has helped me develop mindfulness. So I am able to kind of make better decisions for myself. And it's allowed me to treat my body with a higher level of respect than I had before. It's kind of like the whole treating your body as a temple principle versus for me as a dancer, like my body was just a tool, so I was treating it very harshly. Whereas yoga, now I saw my body as like this beautiful vessel and this great temple that I wanted to nurture and take care of. So it doesn't make everything perfect. But I think that's another way that it can support any kind of weight loss and weight management is just, it helps you be a little bit more mindful about the decisions that you're making throughout the day, even once you're off the yoga mat.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. Just that body awareness and mindfulness. That's perfect. Well, awesome. I want to wrap up by talking just briefly about your yoga teacher training, because you don't have to be a yoga teacher to do this training. And so if you are someone who is intrigued by what we've been talking about, or you've done yin yoga and you love it, you can go through Kassandra's program. I did, and I loved it. It was a really well done course, really easy to navigate. I learned a lot, and I feel confident now that, it's helping me in my teaching, but also just personally, just like personal development was awesome. And so if you wanted to look at it, I wanted you to tell people more about it, Kassandra, but if you go to bit.ly/Brie Cass Yin. Okay, so it's BRIKASSYIN. Okay, so you can just check out the course and like the platform that it's on. It's called Teachable. It's a great platform to help you go through the system. So Kassandra, what kind of inspired you to create this? And I don't know, tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, the Yin Yoga Training is something that I've been asked to put together for years and years. And This is a 30-hour program that is meant either as continuing education for existing yoga teachers or simply personal development for anyone who wants to learn more about Yin Yoga, who wants to deepen their own practice or anything like that. So I put together this online program, and I am so glad I did it because I don't know, I almost didn't follow through with it because it was a scary thing, I guess, for me to embark on, but I'm really happy with what we put together. So it covers everything you need to know basically about Yin Yoga, whether you want to teach it or simply deepen your practice at home. So everything from like educational modules on the principles of Yin Yoga, the asanas, how to theme and sequence a yoga class safely, how to modify your poses, as well as some more embodied practices. So Yin Yoga classes that you can do within the comfort of your own home to really experience it for yourself. And we have this wonderful 100-page manual, and it comes with a copy of my book. So that's basically what the training is. And I debated a little bit whether I wanted it to be exclusively for yoga teachers or if I wanted to open it to the public. And the truth is I know so many people who just want to learn more. They have no desire to go out and teach yoga classes, but they just want to learn more. They want to make their own practices safer. They want to deepen their understanding and their knowledge of Yin Yoga. And it's such a healing modality for people. It has such a great power of transformation and a great power to heal physically, mentally, and emotionally. I decided to open it up to everyone. So it's a beautiful Yin Yoga training, and it's something that I'm adding on to every year. So I launched it just a couple months ago in November for the first time, November 2018. So that's when we launched it originally. And then every fall of the year, I'm going to add new modules because there's still so much more that we could cover. So right now there's 30 hours of content, but that number is going to grow. The number of hours is going to grow every year as the program stays available. And every student who's already registered within the training automatically gets access to the new modules as they become available. That was really important to me. And the new modules are based on feedback from students. So I already have so many wonderful requests from people of things that they want to learn more on or that they're curious about. So that's kind of how it came about. And I'm really happy about the direction that it's heading in. It's a really, really wonderful program for sure.
It is. And I got started in November, right away. I was one of the first ones. And I'm so excited because I'm going to, I'm in for life now. So I do get all of those updates, and anyone who joins it and remind us again, you can join at any time, right? There's not
anytime, yeah.
Okay. And then for yoga teachers, you will get continuing education through the Yoga Alliance if you fill out a form. Okay. But just to repeat, you don't have to be a yoga teacher. You could teach this after doing the program, but you don't have to, and it's not required. And
yeah, exactly. Everyone at the end, there's a little quiz at the end to receive your certificate, which I don't want people to freak out about. It's simple. But yeah, if you are a teacher, you will get your certificate of completion, and you can submit that to Yoga Alliance to make sure that your accreditation stays up to date, which is really great. And even if you're just doing it for fun, you're still going to get your certificate at the end that says that you graduated, and you can do whatever you'd like with that.
I love it. Awesome. Yeah. So if you guys want to check that out, it's bit.ly/BriKassYin, BriKassYin. No capitals, just write it out, and that'll take you right to the page so you can just get started. I mean, I would not hesitate. If you have an interest, I really wouldn't hesitate. I really stand behind it. So thank you so much for being here, Kassandra. How else can people find you besides your yoga teacher training course and your book and your YouTube?
So all of the information on everything that I offer is on my website. So it's yogawithkassandra.com. Kassandra is spelled with a K, so just make sure to put that in there. And if you want to try, I have over 250 free yoga classes now on YouTube by now, if not even more than that. So they can definitely go and try it for themselves. If they've never tried Yin Yoga before, if they want to try any of the other styles that I offer, they can just go to YouTube and search for Yoga with Kassandra, and they'll be able to find me there and try it out for themselves. But again, website is probably the best starting off point.
Awesome. Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for being here, and thank you all for watching. And I guess that's all for now. So as always, remember, eat clean, move every day, breathe deeply, relax, and you will shine brighter. So thanks again, Kassandra. I will see everybody next time. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.